Hello, hello. Welcome to a Handelabra dev stream. It's Friday. It's the middle of the afternoon. It's time for Steam Workshop development. Finishing up another coffee. It's what you need after I had pizza for lunch. A little sleepy. Let's try to make something happen here. All right, let me pull up my good old Twitch chat. Hey, Seamus, Remote Error, and Jake, and anyone else sneakily watching. Dinner's in the oven. What you got going, Seamus? All right, so let's just get my microphone less in the way, and hopefully you can hear me okay. So, all right, so last time we were working on, chicken pie. That sounds good, and spuds. That sounds excellent. We're working on the ad hoc loading of mods from the game, and that was going pretty well, but we ran into issues with not being able to, find the deck list properly sometimes. So we had talked about this before, being able to load games that have mod content, and that is something that is working now. So, well, locally. It's not published yet. So I'm just going to show you what we did for that first, and refresh myself on how, because I did that the other day. So basically, in the engine, I added this commit here where, so we added a field to the model, which is something that is not something we do lightly because that affects save games. So every turn taker now records the namespace that the deck belongs to. And it's null if it's one of our decks. But if it's a mod deck, it'll be, whatever your workspace name is. So that's actually saved in the saved game. And then when we go to load up the game, it actually checks this new property qualified identifier, which will include the namespace, and we can go from there as if you called the new game constructor with the namespace in the same way that you've been doing already. So so that's cool. So let's just show you how that's working, so you don't have to take my word for it. Let's pull up the Sentinels project. So yeah, in my testing, right, I actually need this to be in here. So this is my wonky code where I'm loading my own mod from my project folder, which is what we sort of did originally for testing here. So if I use the code base setup, it's got to compile here, and we do that, we get this setup with our mod character. And we don't need that audio. So yeah, so we have our migrant coder. I can play a card that does nothing. Why would I play it? We get to use power phase. So let's stop and we'll continue the game. So before, when I continued the game, it would fail because it wasn't able to find that, because basically in the engine it was just saying, hey, we have a turn taker called migrant coder, and the engine is like, okay, let me load up migrant coder, and it's like, I don't know what migrant coder is. What are you talking about? So now it's storing that namespace, workshopping in with it, or I think it's, just workshopping. And now when we can load the game, it will actually know about that. So we actually load up into the power phase. We are at exactly the same place. So that is cool. So there was really no change in the UI for that. That was an engine change. But there was other things we were running into the UI with the new game screen and stuff, right? This stuff and whatever. So I didn't commit this stuff because it was still sort of a little, we had commented out a bunch of stuff to make sure it was playable and things like that. And so, yeah, I guess I can update that DLL here. which also has a... So we were working on loading these mods from the mods folder. And I think we were at the point where we can just go into new game here. And our hero is there, right? Yeah. But we had to like comment out a bunch of stuff to make it work. We weren't able to like pull up the full card, or we are now. So I think pulling up the full card, that's part of the change I made. That seems to be good. Let's add some more heroes. And let's just make sure we can start a game. And we're gonna have to go back and like fix the things that we commented out. Because, right, so we actually got an error here. Argument cannot be null. Why? We're looking to... Oh. I think, yeah, this is actually a conflict of my... This is my sort of debug testing to make sure I could continue the game, but I'm going to delete that right now because I'm just going to delete the like ad hoc stuff here because it is interfering with the real stuff that we're doing now. Because the real stuff is using the like... All right, that was in the splash screen, wasn't it? Oh, I guess it just loads it up automatically when we get in, right? Because of the way we have it set up. We had it set up in the splash screen, I remember now. So let's go in and pick a villain. Heroes, environment. Yeah, it's someplace up here. It's like, yeah, loading the mod and everything. So it did that like at the right time. That might be that might be a timing issue right now, but that's only would be in development. Right, we're still getting an exception here. Let me just check if that happens from the splash screen, because that's where we have our mod manager, just to make sure that... Yeah, we get our migrant coder. And right, we need to find out what this is doing. It is happening in create instance of turn taker factory, so it's like in the engine. It's hard to read. In the game constructor. Okay. Why? Let's make sure that my starting game... Oh, we didn't... It's not passing the... Right, so... I think we must have run into this last time. The new game information is not including the namespace there. So we want to be using that qualified identifier, I think, there. So that's like expected, but like that should be a better error and not just something like that. I wonder if we can make that, like improve that so it's not just a random argument null exception. It's in a where clause. We don't get the line number, but in turn taker factory. Oh, I have that open already. So it's in one of these lines, I guess. Oh, No, it's looking for promo card definitions, but maybe there are no promo card definitions in that. I know all of our existing ones have promo card definitions, but maybe mine doesn't. Yeah, I think we can just wrap a null check there. You going ban mad, Seamus? Maybe we'll get a spammer. You can ban them. I'll leave it to you if that pops up. Okay, so yeah, so that was just making sure you've got a null check there. That's probably what this was, is that my character doesn't have promos, and so, or variants. We actually, you'll see this in the engine, there's a lot of things referencing to promos, but then some things variants, because we came up with the name variants like after having developed them, mostly. Let's try this again. I mean, it is, I feel like there's another problem, but let's try this. I think the problem is that it's not finding the definition. Get card definition. Yeah, so it got passed to a different place. I think what happens sometimes is that this definition isn't null, but it's not correct. Like, you can get a new deck definition, but it actually didn't work. The weird thing is it didn't, like, usually it will, like, I wonder if the log is not hooked up early enough in the game view. That might be, it should be showing us this stuff. It might be that we're doing that at the wrong time. Log.debug delegate. Yeah, it's happening right there. All right, well, I think what's the main thing that's happening is it's not passing in, like, it needs to include the namespace in this, and it's not. And so where's that being set? Blah, 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 blah. This might not be the most... Right. We need to... Where are we setting a hero? I think we did like an add hero method or something. Yeah, add hero from card. And so on. Right, so we're going to sort of quick adding hero. It's probably where this is coming in. So we just need to be able to reference those qualified identifiers now. New game, new setup game, right. All of other games, it's called new game scene. And I've been working on Spirit Island a lot this week. Yeah, so we added hero migrant coder, but we actually need to, that needs to be the qualified identifier. I think instead of parent deck, we want owner, which should always be real qualified identifier. Yeah, we're using card.owner there. And here we can do the same thing. We'll use this qualified identifier in all these places. So that's what we need to do, basically. Add villain from card. We want to call owner.qualified identifier. This is going to make sure that the namespace comes through. And let's just look for parent deck and make sure. Right, so here it's just, right, let's just use, oh right, this is using a card definitions. This one doesn't have an owner right now. That's something that we'll need to maybe worry about. That's a promo card thing, something to look at later. These are using card definitions too. Some of these ones that use card definitions maybe don't have to. So we'll, all right, this should, if we change this, it should be passing in the full identifier, including namespace. Hey, Peasant SI. Chat's moving right along. Take Walker, welcome. All right, so if we add migrant coder now, yay, it added workshopping.migrant, but it didn't actually work. I wonder, there's lots of things that use identifiers, so things are a little different now. Right. We need this to all use qualified identifiers too. Just throw those in. They're going to be the same for all of like internal decks, but these might be, and it's going to be like to do handle mod support with qualified identifiers. Can I type? I'm not worried about promo cards right now, but I'll throw a to-do in there. Right, so there's probably other things that are looking for identifiers in here. Right, so here it's like trying to update the UI. We'll pass in, we'll use qualified identifiers. This is related to multiplayer, but it's going to need to be changed anyways. Qualified. Is deck playable? Actually, can check. If this is always a qualified identifier, we could do this. Identifier dot contains a period. It's going to be a mod. So like to do. Check to see if we have the mod, I guess, but for now we can return true. Okay. Back to the game setup. Let's look for more. Right, so here we need to use qualified identifiers for randomizing. For heroes. This is randomizing, so this doesn't actually affect what we were doing before, but right here, card view is moved. It needs to be looking at the qualified identifier. That's why when we tried to move it, it didn't actually go, because it was like, that wasn't that right identifier. It didn't, it like tried to look it up and then didn't find it. Variant changed. Again, we'll look at owner qualified identifier. And again here. For foils, and we're not really looking at foils stuff, but. Right, so this is challenge mode stuff. And this is, yeah, a little trickier. This is multiplayer stuff again, but we can still update that. Expansion identifiers are fine. Okay, I think we got through all those changes. We can take a quick look in the available deck area. Yeah, we can. Oh, I see. These are definitions. We can put these as qualified identifiers. I don't know. That should probably not be a qualified identifier. That should be it. This probably should be that. That's a multiplayer thing too. There's gonna be a lot of funny things. Let's look in just a couple of their spots where I know that we're gonna have to change them. There's probably gonna be a few hiccups. Yeah, again, in multiplayer, we're gonna need to use the qualified identifiers too, I think. So. That's just an analytic, that's okay. Yeah, here. Variants. Okay. And that's probably okay for now. All right, let's see if where we're at right now. Oh, we have an error. Probably just a stray character. Oh, this should be. Did it do like a find replace on me? Oh, I see. This should be card.owner. Identifier. Or was that? Right. This is the card identifier, so we actually don't want. We don't want that. That should be what it is. Right. And again, I just went a little bit too. aggressive on that. All right, we have a compile. Doesn't mean it works though. Okay, so now our guy's at the back of the list. Yeah. All right, we did. We've got workshopping.microencoder here. We add the hero workshop microencoder. Everything is saying workshopping.microencoder, which is what we need. Okay, let's grab Bear Blade. Let's grab an environment. Hey, we have a game. We can't find graphics it's warning about, but that's fine. We have a game that we created from the new game screen. That's exciting. $39 hit points, not the highest because I brought the tree. Awesome. So that is a big step. So let's see where we are here, because we can probably commit this. So yeah, let's just commit our engine change here, which is basically like add null check. Nothing too exciting. It didn't even really solve the problem, but it can't hurt. Update DLL. Okay, so sure. It's like just changing line spacing on me there. That's fine. This is just my testing thing. That's fine. New game data container. We changed to use the qualified identifiers here and a bunch of places. Right. I want that not to be committed, so let's look at sorting that out. The validation step. And we have a couple to-dos there. So I'm going to make a Trello card for that too, just like support variants for mod decks within mod decks. Like that's different, right, than creating a variant for existing cards. Like you're having your own decks have variants within them is sort of different. So all right, this is in the view controller. Right, this is only doing heroes right now, so that's something we probably want to add a little more to. Maybe we'll throw a villain and environment into our thing, into our mod. Okay, that's qualified identifier thing. There too. So I'm looking for like the places we commented out stuff because it wasn't working. Qualified identifier stuff in here, I think. And in here. In the DLC helper, we just say if it is a dot, it's playable. This is the graphic we just threw in for messing around, so I'm just going to delete that right now. And these are the mods that we have in there that aren't going to be committed. So yeah, so I want to uncomment that validation, which is in here, right? Yeah. Because basically it didn't know. So instead of all playable hero identifiers, actually, yeah, because like this is using like a fixed list of stuff. I guess we could add in here mod helper dot heroes. No, mod manager, right? I mean, it's going to be like concat, not union really. And that's used in the deck browser. Yeah, I don't want that to be in the deck browser though. Quick playlist, interesting. I guess it's pretty much just in here that it's used, except for the deck browser. So we can just add an OR into here. Mod manager. I suppose. Because I don't want these other places to be using, like, mods are not going to be in that list of the multiverse official stuff, so so we might do something else, but for now there's this heroes in the box. That's a thing that will need to be dealt with at some point, but we should at least be able to put the hero in the hero list here and have it not have that error. Cool. Uh-oh. Cool. Okay, so that looks good. And what was the other thing? It was that, right, we're just like only doing heroes. Right now. But I think that's good to commit right now. So basically like support, yeah, like use qualified identifier where needed and support selecting a mod hero in the new game screen. All right, so I think we should add in support for villains, environments, and team villains now, because that's something we're going to need. Because what I want to do is, so this is actually done. That is good. So basically heroes, villains, team villains, environments. We just need to make sure that you can do this. Heroes are working. And now actually even like, since I made that game, if I go from the splash screen here and have the mod loader working, I should be able to continue that game that I made from the new game screen, right? Yep. Great. That's what we want. Oh no, devious. Cool. Yeah, so we need to be able to support the other types of decks. I want to check to see if the game intro screen is still broken. I forgot to make a card for that, I think. Did I? Yeah, new game screen. Bump. Starting to give us mod content. Bump. Show graphics. Yeah. So, yeah, let's turn on the game intro. And make a new game. Because right now it's just like was like crashing, and most people have that on by default. So I think it was because of the other, like it couldn't find the namespace or whatever. That was why it was happening. So yeah, it's actually working fine now. Like, I mean, yeah, I'm a mod. What you gonna do? Yeah, there's no graphic, but like it works. So Very good. All right, so yeah, let's get villains and environments working. So I'm not going to worry about graphics right now, so I'm going to move that card back. I'm planning to get this support shipped out before having graphics support, so those of you who are working on programming mods can actually start testing them out in the UI as well. Even if there's no graphics, at least you can start, messing around. So that's the goal. Hopefully by the end of the day, we can get it to a point where that's going to be possible. So let's go back to our sample mod and I guess I can push that up. Let's go back to our sample mod and add a villain, environment, and team villain, which will still be a good example, and then we can make sure that they're going to be working. So what did I change in that file? Sometimes it's like, did you save your changes? And it's like, there's no changes. Not following any of this? That's all right. Things are good, Take Walker. We're getting it so mod authors and developers can get their mods loading into the game itself and not just a low level. I mean, the low level is important, but it's also important to get it into the game itself. Cool. So I can close these. Let's make a new deck list for our villain or hero or villain environment and whatever. So let's add a new file. What's our villain? Baron Jeremy. I was thinking that would be a variant. Hey, look, Seamus the Hug Monster. It's someone for you to ban. And if you hit the ban hammer on that chat spammer, that can be your first ban. They even got some wacky Unicode going in there to try to avoid bots, I guess, blocking them. It seems like. Not sure if Seamus is listening. Banhammer request. Let's make an empty JSON file. And we'll call it happy to take suggestions for environments and villain stuff that I'm just putting in here, basically. You got it, Seamus? If you're not sure what to do, you turn on your mod icons and moderation actions, and then click the first button is like a no sign, and when you hover over it, show ban Genia 19669, and you just click it. Or you can type /ban and then their username. That's another way to do it. We got a villain. Who's my villain? Chillin' like a villain. The baddies. Deck list. Are we the baddies? Alright, Seamus, I'm going to do the ban if you're not going to do it. I am banning the spammer. Sorry, it had to be done. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy this one to begin with. name is the Baddies. They're a villain. I'm just gonna make it. I guess I could make it 2 character cards or whatever, but villains have a slightly different deck list set up. So I'll pull up Baron Blade. Jason? Yeah, let's just copy Baron Blades. They flip, they do stuff. They have difficulty instead of complexity. Are we, though? They have setup. We can, like, sort of put a traditional... I don't know what gameplay. Nothing specific, really. It's all the same. How do you get here? And you don't have to have challenge. You can, like, if you just, like, don't have this, the game won't even show that there's challenge. I'm bad. I'm bad. You know it. You know. And it's just gonna have 25 copies of Fire Everything. And the Baddies deals each target 5 psychic damage. That's all it does. Plays these one-shots that do damage to every target, including itself, so... that seems fine. Let me just make sure my JSON... good old JSON formatter. JSON is valid. May as well put it in like that. Alright, there's our villain. Chilling like a villain. We need to make code for it, though. Add a folder called the Baddies. Add a class called the Baddies. Character card controller. There doesn't need to be a turn taker controller, but actually for villain there might need to be. And Fire Everything card controller. Oh, mod icons are showing. You could Christopher your challenges. Yeah, exactly. All right, this namespace needs to be workshopping.thebaddies, which it is. Cool. All right, these need to be descended from the right place, though. I think we just need to do this using and call it a card controller. And then it's like, your constructor is wrong. We just need to like pass in the right thing. I guess we need to also use the model. Cool. And the character card is the same way. This is a character card controller. And it also needs the right signature of the constructor. And the turn taker controller is a turn taker controller. I think there's a villain turn taker controller, maybe? No. I guess there is a villain character card controller. And this again has a different signature. All right, so nothing's been implementing these cards, but they should work now. We can like make this card do the thing that we said that it did, I guess. System collections, I think, needs for that. We want to deal damage to like all targets, right? Yeah, target criteria, blah, blah, blah. Okay. To all targets. 5 psychic damage. So this is using the version that is target criteria. It's just like, nope, it's always true. All targets. You might be able to just pass null there. Yeah, and I don't know that, like, this isn't doing anything, so our turn taker controller, or character card controller and turn taker don't need to do anything, which I'm fine with right now. Let's go and make a test. You probably want to make a test for like each deck, not just one big test file, but I guess we can like shopping.thebaddies. We'll just update our test here. Find villain. The baddies. And that's a villain. There's no such thing as a villain turn taker controller. Yeah. Baddies. We can go play top card. And we can like make sure that everyone got hit for. Well, I guess we should be using quick HP storage or whatever, but that's fine. You don't have to. Where does our guy start at? 40. Always deals 5 Psychic. Should be down to 35. We can do these like type checks too to make sure the types are getting loaded. The baddies. Oh wait. Right, we need to you don't necessarily you can just fully specify it, but just make sure that everything is loading right here. Let's try it. Yeah, you don't need, turn taker controllers, like if you need them to do like start of game stuff or things that need to happen even if their character card's not in play, stuff like that. So it's not always necessary. It just instantiates a regular one, I think. What? This is the same thing I was getting before, right? Turn taker factory create instance. Oh, this is not using the development DLL though, right? Where is it getting the engine from? This might be using not the version I need. Where is this coming from? Yeah, it's coming from the Steam version, which should be still fine. It's going to be easier if I don't use that, though. Yeah, we should be able to just, it should be just registering the one namespace. What's our full output here? Could not load resource. Oh, did you set the build action to embedded resource? Nope. I didn't. And now different things are happening, so that's good. Oh, there's Nemesis bonus. Watch out, migrant coder. The baddies are your nemesis. Alright, that all worked. So that's why we put that in that error message. Just like, did you do this thing you have to do? And it's like, oh yeah, I didn't do that. Cool. That was adding a very quick and dirty villain. Let's save that as a commit. Add a sample villain. Let's add an environment now, and then we'll come back, circle back around to a villain team. So let's add a new file. A empty JSON file. What's our environment going to be? Environment's going to be the dev stream. Dev stream. Deck list. That's right. So we need a deck list. Environments are pretty much just a card list, right? Well, I mean, so is the other. All the decks are just a card list pretty much, but let's pull up one example. Good old Rook City deck list. We've got like this and a card list. So it's a dev stream environment. It is difficulty 3, certainly. What things can happen in the dev stream? We could have a Dropped frame. And we could say, when this card enters play, deal each target 1 sonic damage. I don't know, lightning damage. And we could say, at the start of the environment turn, each target regains 1 HP. Sure. I'm not messing with the icons, they're all just whatever. Identifier is migrant coder. Get it together, internet. All right, got some flavor text. And it doesn't have hit points. Okay. And let's just say there's 15 copies of that right now. Cool, so there is our environment deck list. Let's make a new folder called DevStream. And let's add a new class. All we need is just the card controller for this. So dropped frame card controller. And we just need some of the usual things. We need a constructor. Oh, right. It's a card controller. This has an example of a couple things we can do. So it has a when this card enters play effect, so we need a play method. We deal damage from to all targets, right? Yeah. It's good to have your card text in here. We can't use character card. The source of the damage is this card. Or the environment. And then we also need to add triggers, right? And we need to I haven't done this by hand for a while. Add start of turn trigger. Right, turn taker criteria is the turn taker is this dot turn taker, this turn. The response is gain HP. We probably have to make, we have to make a function for that. We can usually call it like start of turn. Sometimes there's like responses that like do things like you may destroy the card response that are like common. We'll go start of turn response and trigger timing dot, I think after it needs to be for start of turn ones. And we need to implement that method. And that needs to take a phase change action. And it needs to take, yeah, it just needs to return. Oh, trigger, oh, I see. It's not timing, it's trigger type. Gain HP. Yeah, and then we have our thing. And often when I make I haven't programmed a Sentinels deck for a long time. I would do like this. I would go for the trigger. I would put a comment here, which is like at the start of the environment turn, and then put like ... and then put ... So you sort of connect them up, right, in the documentation, which is kind of nice. We're actually going to be using gain HP. I guess there's no, maybe it's in this .game controller. A lot of things are in this .game controller instead. Gain HP. Just like all targets. Yeah, so no hero. And it's just one. And that's it. I think. All right, that seems fine. So let's go and make this be our environment. I forgot to set this to embedded resources. I was like, I was gonna remember to do that, but then I didn't. Dev stream. And we can just put our asserts in here just to make sure that the environment is what we expect. Maybe we'll do the quick HP storage of baddies and migrant because we're going to be doing that. -5, -6. Okay. Oh, could not load resource. I did set it to embedded resource. Oh, I forgot to put the namespace. Should probably put a few more like, are you sure you did everything for modders? A few more checks there to help. We'll get to that. Cool, so that worked. So let's try just like making sure the environment plays a card. Play top card. Environment. Deals 1 damage. Heals 1 at the start. Go to environment, go to start of turn, environment, and everyone should heal for 1. This is like really rough and ready testing. Don't try to do this. Probably a bad example. Null reference from the environment. Well, it did do the dropped frame was played, you see here, and dealt the lightning damage. Right, the null reference is, I have to see what's a environment card that heals everyone, like just heals every target. There's one in like the Nexus of the Void, right? Just don't know the right thing to call. I need the documentation. Because it's not a hero doing it, it's the environment doing it. there are environments that just heal everyone straight up, right? Jade Estuary. It's not like, I mean, I don't care about the even odd thing. Yeah, it's not. Oh, okay, you have to pass this dot decision maker, I think, instead of null. That's why. Okay. Oh, and I also forgot to pass the card source, I think. When you're doing this, you need to do that. These are just these things that, like, you wouldn't know, and we're going to document. Because, yeah, it's not, a lot of these things are not obvious. And we want to make it easier for you. Success. Success. Let's just look at the output for it. Yep. The baddies regained 1, microencoder regained 1, so our trigger worked there. Cool. Right, so that is our simple environment. Add sample environment. Well, you know, it is the point where you have to learn it the hard way if you want to get into it right now. We are going to be adding documentation and stuff, but you're welcome to do it the hard way if you want. Because I know people are going to do it either way. So, because I saw people were like, I'm going to start decompiling and, you know, modifying code and stuff. It's like, well, at least we can let you write your own code and not do that. We can get a little bit somewhere. And actually, Jean-Marc is doing some documentation writing this afternoon. So we are going to be working on that stuff. Actually, I should mention that in the... Let me just pull up that Google Doc of the documentation. Is going to add that to the outline here of card sources, source parameters, decision maker parameters, things that you have to need to know about. Okay, since I run into that. Okay, so, and let's finally add a team villain. So a new file. Our team villain can be, I don't know, any suggestions? The Hug Monster. The Hug Monster. And let's just copy the other JSON because team villains are like the same as regular villains basically. And instead of it, the Hug Monster's gonna have an ongoing, just all ongoings. The Hug Monster. Maybe this is gonna be a conflict with one of Seamus's decks. That's okay. We'll change it. Unstoppable hugging. Reduce the hit points. It's a team villain. All right, and on the flip side, team villains actually have like other stuff. So let's pull up like Bugbear team deck list. They are a little different because they have like an in cap side, right? Yeah, we have to say flipped show hit points, flipped blah blah blah, flipped gameplay. Like that. I'm not gonna. You feel shame. Sad that you no longer get hugs. Opening line, bring it in. And there's gonna be, I don't know how many cards team villains have. That's less than 25, right? They have like 20. I don't know, maybe 15. They have smaller decks. Doesn't super matter. Instead of firing everything, warm embrace. And it's going to be at the end of each turn. Each hero target. 1 fire damage. 1 melee damage and 1 fire damage at the end of each turn. Watch out for that. And he just keeps playing these ongoing cards. It seems fun. There. Okay, so that's our hug monster. It seems monstrous. Okay, so let's create these cards. So we need to make a folder called the Hug Monster. And we want to add a class called the Hug Monster Character Card Controller. And yeah, got too many files. And we also have Warm Embrace. Card Controller. And again, these are need to have the right usings at the top. I don't know what I pressed to make the debug start. Press some keyboard shortcut on accident. Oh yeah, this needs to be embedded resource. These need to be the right subclass and everything. And okay, that's a villain character card controller. Villain team character card. There must be some, yeah, there's special handling for villain team characters, I think, in terms of they have in caps and everything, right? Like that's different than regular villains. Cool. So right. So that villain doesn't do anything, but the card does. So let's implement that. It's an ongoing. So it doesn't have any play effect, but it does have it's going to need triggers because it has start or end of turn actions. So we have the drop frame does add triggers. And actually, I think we might not need our own response, because I think there are built-in responses for damage. Let's see. So we want add end of turn trigger, end of turn response, damage, and we need system.collections. Right, what did we say it did at the end of each turn? This. And actually it's just all turns. And I don't know if there's a deal damage. Response. Deal damage or restores. Yeah. I don't know if the game controller has like response. No, it doesn't really. Okay, we'll just go end of turn response. There's like a library of some helpful stock responses that are common, but this is not a common one really. So right, so we need to deal damage to the source is this dot character card. Target criteria is a hero target, right? Is hero. There's a, I guess is target. I mean, is hero target is hero is enough. All right, and it's like multi. There's a thing for multi-target damage, right? Deal damage. Card controller has its own little helper too. 4 helpers. Damage to a specific target. Follow-up damage. I don't remember how to do the multi-target. There's lots of weird ways to do damage. I think you have to use the follow-up thing. Deal multiple instances of damage. Ah, that's what it is. Okay. Thanks, Jake. Right, we have to create a damage info. The targets is all hero targets, and that's it. We don't care about the See, I don't even know how to program this stuff. Deal damage, or damage info, right? Where's that from? Oh, deal damage actions. Okay. Is there like a bar? Guess we just like create it like this. Get card source. This dot character card. Target is null. We don't know the target here. It's 1 damage type dot melee. find an example, like Fanatic. Fanatic character card controller. Right, I did that part. This is what I need. What am I missing? Get card source. Oh, we need to make this new damage source. We need to make a damage source, I guess. Well, I can just like use this. Okay. And we have to pass the info. Oh, right. Oh, this is like it. So once you know how to do it, it's this one, it's this, just this. But yeah, obviously you can do arbitrary things. Oh, my JSON is invalid. What have I done? No? Oh, it's not the JSON. It's this. Why is that constructor missing? I thought it was the JSON thing. It was the C# thing. And again, oh, I see. I just pasted wrong. All right, we got the hug monster programmed. Let's just make a quick hug monster test. Play top card. Hug. We need a hug variable. Why? Oh, right. And go to end of turn, hug. We could do like quick HP storage, hug, migrant, quick HP check. 0 - 2 because it's melee and fire. And actually, we'll make him not Legacy's nemesis. We'll make him. The Wraith doesn't like hugs. I'm pretty sure she doesn't like hugs. At the end of the hug monster's turn. Oh, did I do it? Did I do it right? I guess I should also add like bugbear. And actually, we'll add like a couple more. Greaser team and the Wraith. There's actually it's not a rule, but it's should be that they have team in their name. So I'm going to do that. Oh, I don't see my cursor there. We're going to fix these to be hug monster team character. I'm pretty sure if you look at the Bugbear's deck list open still. Bugbear team deck list. Oh right, we need to say he's villain team. And then yeah, they all say team because like there's Baron Blade team, right? So we try to like make it so right. So it's villain team, not villain. And these need to also say team, I think. That's Baron Blade. Yeah, Bugbear team, Bugbear team. Just to keep it copacetic everywhere, there are things that look for that, so, but it's, I don't know if it's required, but it's, I think it's important. So we're gonna like fix all these. The Hug Monster team. And this needs a better namespace, fixed namespace. Okay, so that should all work, I think, except I need to do this. And this needs to also say team. We still say we could not load the Hug Monster team deck list. Did I set the action to embed resources? I did. What did I do wrong this time? The other thing still works, right? Yeah. That's happy. But I'm getting an error that it is trying to load the deck list from the right place. Oh, because I didn't actually name this file right? That's probably why. That might do it. Yep, Jake's on the ball. Oh, and it's like Bugbear. Do I have Bugbear in here somewhere still? Oh, it says we couldn't find Bugbear. Bugbear doesn't have a capital B, that's why. Yay! Alright, so Bugbear, Greaser are in the game. Game controller plays Warm Embrace. Cool. Let's just make sure that this like stops when we destroy it and stuff. And let's store legacy. Bugbear, team, legacy, Greaser, team, Wraith. Now, Bugbear should get 0, legacy should be -2, Greaser should be 0, Wraith should be -4 due to Nemesis. Then if we go to end of turn migrant, we should have the same thing. Is there, I thought Nemesis boost? Nemesis bonus? The Wraith? Oh, it's that, so here's, like, it should be doing Nemesis bonus, but probably we have the wrong card dealing the damage. Yeah, we're saying this card's dealing damage. Well, actually, we want the character card to be dealing the damage of. That's something you'll probably run into common mistake. There we go. Correct. And if we just, I want to actually make it so that if we go to destroy card, and if we go to the end of the turn, it should be 0. Like once we destroy it, it shouldn't have any end of turn effect anymore. Cool. All right, so now we have a villain, an environment, and a team villain in our mod. Look at us in like lickety split. Add sample team villain. Because why I wanted to have all of those is so that we can see that they show up in the game. So in theory, I can just go to my mod and get the DLL. This one, just updated. And let's go to my Sentinels folder, mods. This is the one that has it. And it should load them. It should just work. Just work, right? Oh wait, we need to update the manifest to mention the decks. We need to say we've got a villain, which is called the Baddies. We've got a team villain, which is called the Hug Monster Team. And we've got an environment, which is called DevStream. All right, what did just want to check our log here. The JSON. Yeah, I guess it didn't like do anything else. That's fine. Let's go to new game and look at the villain list. Don't see a villain, right? Because we didn't actually, the code is not looking for the mod villains right now, but we can fix that. So let's go back to this. That was the thing that it wasn't doing yet. So under here, look for mod manager. Yeah, it is saying, I think, yeah, if it's not null, it's a fixed scenario, right? Right. Available other deck identifiers. I think we need to split this out to between hero and I don't know that the game really cares about where things are, but I think it might a little bit. So let's do this. Instead of the other, we'll do hero deck identifiers. Environment deck. So starting off with like the known Sentinels decks. And we just had Heroes Environment stuck together because it worked before, but we need to separate them out now, I think. So here we need to do this again for the environment. I think we can just do this. And yeah, it's just sort of a little copy pasty, but so here we add the heroes, and here we right. Actually, here Oblivion mode can support. We can say add mods. Basically. Yeah, so we're just gonna like add them here. Villains. And environments. Oh, not deck. It's funny. Is that something I did? I guess that's something I did. All right, and here there's a demo building that's gonna not compile, but that's fine right now. Yeah, so we need to add a function here for get available villains, and yeah, we just need to make versions of this. We can just make like a private helper here. Like this. Oh, right, that's not, yeah, that's actually not gonna be as easy. Can I just... Just don't want to be copying and pasting all this. I think we have to do add something in here. Like get qualified identifiers, and that does this part. And we do like this. This is a function we can call on all of them, and then here, instead of this more complicated thing, simplifies that a lot, right? Is there something like deck type? Deck kind? Yeah. So we can like use that. Oh, I see. Do this sort of thing. No, not kind of this. Yeah, this sort of thing. And then we can just pass in this kind. So we have hero deck identifiers. We have villain deck. We have villain deck identifiers. We could make like a dictionary, I guess. And villain team. Other isn't really used except in like Oblivion and stuff. Or like Cargo Warfang. It's not a root level deck. So then back in here, instead of get available heroes, that used get available decks, deck definition, deck kind. It could be like just past that. Easy. So these things can call get available decks. Villain, get available decks of hero, get available decks of environment, and not forgetting villain team. Cool. And yeah, this is just like a little debug thing I was using. All right, there's one other thing that called that. Maybe. Oh, we've got like an extra backslash somewhere. What? What are you talking about? Oh, yeah. Okay. A backslash somewhere. And there's another error, right? Yeah. Right. Get available decks. Right, and this is going to, the other stuff, other validation is going to complain as well, but that should get us to the point where we can see the decks, so. All right, villains. The baddies Oh, and we have this. That was coming up before, right? That's something else. And then dropped frame. It's going to have the same thing, but we can choose it. And migrant coder should still be there. Cool. And it's going to give us a validation error that says that's not a villain because it doesn't know what it is. So let's update the validation. Oh, and then we have the team villain. Just double check the team villains there. This is all going pretty well so far. Villains, team mode. The hug monster. And then Oblivion, we should be able to choose migrant coder. That was something that I think wasn't there before. Yeah, and we can choose dropped frame. Oh, except it says drop frame, but that's just how it works in the screen. It actually just chooses a random card instead of there's no character card, right, for those. Right, so here we need to make sure, similar to this, that we're allowed so either it's a playable villain identifier from DLC or it's a villain mod. Same thing here. It's either a playable team villain from DLC or it's a villain team mod. And environment. And I guess there's a check for a similar check for Oblivion mode. And I guess we can throw this in here. Special handling for those other things. Okay, so that's good. So then we should be able to start a game now. We'll see what's going on with the full card thing, because that was working for the hero, but not the other thing. All right, let's take our villain and our environment, and sure, we'll bring our hero. Engine error, could not load. It's not, oh, so it's not creating it's not passing the namespace for the environment card because the environment isn't saving that for some reason. It's interesting. So where's our log that says workshopping the baddies, workshopping my encoder, blah, 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 workshopping dev stream. So somewhere it lost. Where are we? Where's the error? Oh, and it's trying to load the music for the game. So actually this is all okay actually, because it would load a graphic for the background, but there isn't one. So none of this is actually fatal. Just looks bad. Because there's our baddies, villain, and our environment deck. So it's just the music loading here. It's unhappy about it. Here's our villain we just made. Cool. So we'll probably get the same error here if we go continue the game because the music loading is not using the qualified identifier. Yeah. So we can take a look at that because that will be confusing to people. Resource helper, load audio. Sometimes load, it just doesn't go to where I want. Load audio. Right, passing the deck identifier, but it's not passing the right deck identifier. Ensure music is playing or load music. That's still passing a deck identifier. Update from options. Right. Here we're saying turn taker identifier, but we want to pass qualified identifier. It's still not gonna, there's no music or anything, but so some of these things are we're gonna come across because there's probably a lot of places that are still, yeah, there's a bunch of that are using the dot identifier thing. That's going to be something that we're going to have to update throughout. So if we continue the game here, we should at least not get that error. It still obviously doesn't have music. It might like show a bunch of warnings and stuff about it because it couldn't find the audio. But yeah, couldn't find music. Cool. That's okay. We don't have music, so we don't expect there to be music. And these cards are there. Cool. Okay. Exciting. So what did we do? We got all these things loading from a mod, right? We can go and we can choose them. We could even play an Oblivion game with our hero and environment. Let's test that. I guess we didn't test the villain team. Let's do that first. Hug Monster. A couple other. We can click random. I'm curious, like if we can get a random mod. Only team villains may be using team mode, right? That was. I saw that line and it seemed fine, but only team villains. Oh right. This is a not. It's checking if there's more than one villain and any of them are not in the list of playable team. This should be and not. If they're not in the list of DLC team villains and they're not in the list of mod team villains, then something is wrong. I don't think the randomizer is going to pick mod stuff right now. Pretty sure. Yeah. Oh, it did. Okay. Let's go ahead with the Hug Monster. The Hug Monster says, bring it in. Warm embrace. Could be a fun deck to make about hugging. The hugs are ongoing. Cool. All right, so that is looking great. Okay, so we had another issue. Oh, we want to check Oblivion. We'll check that, and we want to check that full card on the new game screen thing. So let's just try Oblivion with our hero and environment and the rest. Yeah, we've got like a blank graphic where that one should go, but that's expected at this point. Blank environment background, but looks like that all loaded okay. So yeah, let's check out the new game screen right-clicking thing. So we can right-click on Migrant Coder, right? No. I thought that was working before. I guess it's working in-game, but not here. So I think other than that, we can commit this stuff. So I guess I'll push up my changes to the sample. So enjoy. If you want to sample more decks, that's pushed up to GitHub or GitHub if you like. In here, basically, we're using another qualified identifier thing. We're supporting the validation. We're supporting finding other kinds of decks. So cool. So support, loading villains, team villains, and environments from mods. Cool. And yeah, let's sort this out. What's happening here? Go away, this error tab, that's not helpful. Right, we're looking for the expansion that goes with this. But the thing is, it's like trying to pull up the expansion panel to begin with, which it shouldn't be. So under show full card, update buttons from properties is where it is. So this is let's just close all these files. Basically, it shouldn't be trying to show this. Update buttons from properties. Is this not? UI full card panel.cs. I don't know, didn't find it before. There it is. Line 647. I don't know. I guess this is the older version of Unity. Newer Unity, I can like click through to that line right from there. Should use game setup unavailable sprite. Right, so if we're not in the new game screen and the deck isn't playable, we should do that. I think it was when this DLC helper product data model is part of that. So let's also check mod manager dot instance dot. I want to like just have a function that's like, does this deck exist? Public bool is deck playable. playable. String qualified identifier. And I kind of want like to be able to like just return all of them. Like get all qualified identifiers. And then we can just return get qualified identifiers, this.deck identifiers. Then we can just like return loaded mods.values.any. And I get all qualified identifiers that contains qualified identifier. So like if there's any mod that has this, it's playable. Owner.qualified identifier. So this is like saying if we can't play it from DLC and we can't find it in a mod, then it's really not available. Hey, that's what we want. We also don't want to show achievements, but we'll get there. It's not. They're actually not going to track or anything like that, I don't think. Cool. All right, and we'll just double check the environment, I guess. Yeah. So that's trying to show the deck back for the environment, but there isn't a graphic. So yeah, basically fix issue with expansion panel coming up. Mod full card. All right, so I'm pretty pleased with this. So what we have done today is gotten all of these things loading up ad hoc. We're not doing any graphics. So that's, extra stuff. We can add more to the checklist of like, I don't know, validation and stuff like that. That's probably more covered in like this. Yeah. But like the sort of rough and ready loading there, I'd say is done. The format specification, I think we need to get that written down. That's something we can do. But yeah, so basically right now, as of the next version of Sentinels, which we're going to get out hopefully next week before next stream, so you can start using this, you'll be able to use this by like plopping, making a mods folder and putting your folder in there with your DLL and your JSON and having everything that needs to have, and the game will load it up. So we can double check this by doing a build. And we'll test it out on like Steam as well before shipping it, of course. But yeah, there'll be other bug fixes and stuff. So we're trying to get some more bug fixes in and then testing them and everything like that. But hopefully we should be able to get this out by next week so you can start actually testing your decks in the UI. There won't be any graphics as you've seen here, but there's, really introductory support. Excuse me, let's say. I don't even know if does the new game screen work? Multiplayer is probably not going to work, right? There's going to be lots of things that don't work, but as you can see, you can at least like start playing a game. So I made a build. I'm gonna, right, that's where that is, and I'm gonna copy my mods folder over there. Well, I guess let's like run it, and we should be able to see that there are no mods, no villains, no heroes. If we rename this, we have mod. This isn't a built player. So if I I randomized and got my encoder. I like didn't realize that would just work. I guess I made some changes in the randomizer, so I guess that made it work. So you're probably getting, I don't know, you're not getting double music, I don't think. Yeah. Okay, so you're gonna see those error loading graphics or whatever, but pay no mind for right now. So that's pretty sweet, I think. I don't know what you think. I'm pretty pleased with that. So what, this is inside mods. Yeah, we need to document this mod format and just any other instructions for like testing your mods and stuff. So that's cool. I'm gonna take a quick break and I'll be right back, and we can look at what else we want to do today. But yeah, pretty cool stuff. That's been, you know, a few days work to get that working, but it's looking good. Let's make this text bigger. Boop. BRB. I have returned. All right. So I don't know what we're going to call this. It's not really alpha. I guess it's pre-alpha support. Because, like, the alpha is like, I want all of these things to be supported. But yeah, like, create your own deck. That's, like, done? Like, the programming part? I don't know if it's done. Let's not put it into done. But, you know, it's getting there. So, cool. So, one thing I did want to change that thing that says error loading graphics contact support, because I don't want people to be contacting support at this point for this. So let's see if we can actually get at that label and change it to say something like, you know, mod content, you know, from whatever the mod name is or something. Would be better. Yeah. No, you. Let's see if we can do that. I don't know if that label is, I mean, the label is connected because it's shown, but it might just be always underneath the graphics all the time. Like if I open, I think it might just be always there. Choke point. Oh no, it is turned off. So, okay. So something is deciding to turn it on. Which is good, which means in the past I hooked it up in a way that I could access it. So let's go to UI card view, I think is where it is, would be. Seriously? I just tried to open that file. Enter. Maybe I pressed a different key. I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot in here. Re-download it. Re-download notice label. Is only used. Yeah, Card View Factory is the thing that like configures it. Right, because there's a different thing that can be like, you need to re-download for foil art. And all these, yeah, it's only used in this little one area. So if it failed, we show the title label, we show the re-download notice. Basically, show mod notice. Owner dot. I was thinking I don't like having this check be like, if it contains dot, like it'll work, but it seems a little smelly, code smelly. We're going to do this. And what we could, well, let's just do this. Text equals mod content. And let's just make sure that shows up. I should be able to just go into the, I don't need to go in through the, because of the way things are loading, I think I can just go in from this scene. I might not get the villain card, I think timing wise. Oh, I did. Mod content. So yeah, we can have it. And then when like, so like instead of those small cards not showing up, we can have it say like, content from mod graphics not yet available. And maybe we can actually, I kind of want to say what mod it's from. Mod manager. Public. Find mod for identifier. Or just like find mod for deck. Because the key on that is like the namespace, or it's actually like the directory. I guess that's okay to use. So load mod first or default value dot get all qualified identifiers dot contains qualified identifier. So if mod null, right. I don't know if the mod itself knows the name. Because like that doesn't really matter. Like the folder name, we don't really care. We don't use it anywhere. Maybe we'll just return the mod manifest. Right, so maybe we'll just use the values. And we'll just return that. We'll still leave this because maybe for some reason somehow that's null. Should not be, but so I wanted to say like content from, I wanted to have this name of the mod at the end. Mod graphics not yet available. And then just like blip. String mod name equals unknown mod. Then we can just do this. Blip, blip. Mod name equals mod dot title. Yeah. So if we can't find the mod, it'll be unknown mod, but others will be like the cauldron or whatever. Cool. Mod graphics not yet available. My mod is the best. That's the name of the mod, I guess. Is that what I called it? I guess so. Yep. And that should go in-game too. On any cards in the deck and stuff. Yeah. Right here. Mod graphics not available. Cool. That's what we want to see. I guess it's not going to show up everywhere, but like, at least it's not going to say like customer support, blah, blah, blah. We don't want that. Cool. Show, improve text notice on cards when art not available because it's a mod. That's just going to save some grief for our customer support folks when people inevitably start complaining about that. But be patient. There will be art loading support. That will be, I guess, one of the next things I look at because, well, I guess that's one thing. What does chat think? If any mod creators are in there, there's kind of two things I can focus on here. Either creating variants for existing characters, which is not a thing we've really gotten into yet, or loading resources and graphics. We've done some prototyping on that to make sure we can do that, but we haven't actually, done it. So that's a thing that, so it's like, would we rather like get artwork and other stuff loading for new decks, prioritize that, or prioritize just like be able to create variants for existing decks? Jake prefers more content to prettier content. Sure. Variants is Jake's priority. Any thoughts from anyone else? We do need to do this mod format specification. So I'm just thinking of where mods, yeah. I think in here, this is fine. It can just be a card that lives here for now. It'll be part of like the bigger documentation. Seamus says artwork. Seamus the hug artwork. We need a hugging Seamus monster. I guess one thing is I haven't really seen people talking about like, I want to make my variants and I can't make my variants yet. So I'm not, and maybe people just haven't gotten like to that point where they're ready to do that. Anyone who wants to be doing stuff has been making decks. So that's something to think about. I'm not sure that like the variant stuff is probably like a day's work or two. So like it's something I would do next week if I was going to do it. The graphics loading is something that's going to be like probably a little bit of time, like to get like, because there's lots of different bits and pieces to support. Yeah, let's do this. Let's write down this mod format. Sure, the Cauldron folks want variant support. I guess, does the Cauldron have variants of existing heroes or the variants of the own heroes? Because that actually, that's a separate thing, is variants within the mod decks is, yeah, variants of their own. Yeah, that's sort of a different third thing. Versus variants of like the Wraith or variant, or of existing decks, which I know is a popular thing. Yeah, so I think that's something that would be potentially to good look at next. 4 existing hero variants and a whole bunch of variants for Cauldron. Yeah, so I think like in the engine you should have no problem making a variant. I just don't know that the UI is going to know what the heck to do with it, because it's going to be like, is this unlocked or like whatever. Frenzy asks, for variant, do you mean just making new power incap powers or actually changing the cards in their decks? So variants are new cards. If you look at like Bunker. So Bunker is a character card that has all of what Bunker does as his character card. He's got all of his deck cards, which are one-shots, ongoings, equipments. And then there's a separate section in the JSON for promo cards. Oh, I double-clicked that and it selected the whole thing. So this is another character card that you can play instead of the regular character card. And so it has the same identifier as the regular card, but it has a promo identifier, and it sort of drops into place. And so if you make your own deck, you can right now like set this stuff up and test that out in the engine. That should just like work. I don't imagine that could be a problem. But the UI needs to show the variants button. It needs to like check, is this unlocked and stuff. For mods, I think at least initially just be like, they're always unlocked. It's not a thing that there are achievements related to them or anything like that. For the ones that belong to the mod deck. But then there's that, the other thing is like, I want to make my own bunker, right? I want to make Bunker the Hug Monster, or I want to make, Frenzied Bunker that deals toxic damage to all targets because he's gone wild or whatever. So being able to like, how do you specify that? Because you don't get to change bunker deck list.json. That is part of the game. So we need a way for you to provide your own variants JSON or something that lets you say, here's this variant for this specific existing deck, and here's the code that goes with it and the graphics that go with it and everything. And please, load it up and make it available. When I click variants on bunker, I can see it. So that's kind of a whole new thing. Similar to how we allowed to load up your own decks. It's another thing that is not like, that's not like, it's not something that we support directly, so it'll need to be something new. And in theory, that could also let you make variants for other mods decks. Trident42 says, suppose it wouldn't be horrible to have a mod that's here's a copy of Bunker's whole deck, but the character card is the new variant. That would be pretty horrible because you would need to re-implement all of Bunker's cards, and you would probably introduce bugs, and it would be weird and broken. So you wouldn't have the artwork. Yeah, it would just be a bad idea. Not recommend. And that's not how we're going to do it. Trust me, you don't want to re-implement, guys. And then, like, if any changes or fixes were made, like, you would get it. Like, it's just, that's not a good idea. So we'll make a way for you to create variants. So yeah, I think, so what I'm hearing is probably variants for those existing mod decks. Supporting that in the UI is more important than variants for existing heroes. So that's interesting. So yeah, we'll think about that for what we want to do for next week. But for now, let's get this mod format specified so you can start making your JSON files and be ready for when that update drops. So JSON has a specification format, right? This is something there's like a JSON format. There's like XML has a schema format. And I think there is for JSON too. I've never used it. JSON schema. I don't know. Automatically generate JSON schema from JSON. Do I need an account? Why do I need an account? Does anyone use JSON schemas? I'm curious. So, right, here's an example. And the schema is in JSON, or you can make it in XML. So, let's read about it. It lets you just like validate your JSON and stuff. I don't know if this is supported by like Visual Studio or anything. Right, they're working on getting it to be an RFC and stuff. I don't know if this is super needed for like what we're doing, but I'm interested in it. Wow, an octopus. That's a lot. JSON schema, Visual Studio. JSON supports JSON schema draft 7. Does it work on Visual Studio Mac? You can map it in the workspace. All right, so let's pull up a JSON file. Right, no schema selected, but you can actually pick one. That's cool. So we could make a schema for deck lists or for other things. So if I pick like something like that, it's gonna be like, what are you talking about? All this stuff is not allowed. Yeah, that's cool. Hover over properties, and yeah, that's kind of neat. If I like choose this, does it like it's downloading it, and then it's like saying, let's pick the first one because it had errors. Or like, yeah, errors and warnings. Like if I build, is it going to be like failure because your JSON is invalid? No, it's just like complaining about it here. But like if I go, is that going to be something that's saved in the project? It's saved, but is that like yeah, maybe that's like a user setting. JSON. Not seeing anything that has to do with that. So it's just like an editor level thing. I don't know where it gets this list of schemas from. JSON schema store. Oh, so we could like provide ours into this. Contribute our schema. It's interesting. So what does this look like? Is it the one I picked? API builder? No. Well, let's just pick one. That's right, like you can document sort of whatever you want. You can say all these things have different types, and you could decorate them with more information. Oh yeah, like an enumeration of like what values are allowed. That's cool. That's something we use in deck lists a lot, actually. It'll be like this is a special string. It needs to be environment, hero, villain, or whatever. Difficulty is a certain range that's allowed. How do I get mine into this list? I guess I could put a file. Choose a file. File preferences settings. Preferences settings? XML schemas. Where are the JSON schemas? Can I search this? I don't think so. JSON, errors, warnings, validation. Okay. I have XML schemas available here. Right, so you can actually like use this $ schema, which we would be fine with because we like our file doesn't care. About that. We're actually not in Visual Studio Code. We use Visual Studio without the code. I don't know. Tools for Unity. Yeah. Visual Studio Mac JSON schema. There's something in Visual Studio Marketplace. Right, so you can just choose you can have a local file for it. Yeah, this is interesting enough. I'm gonna like add a thing here, which is JSON schema for deck list and JSON schema for mod manifest. But for now, it's just going to be an example in this Trello card, I think. So for ad hoc loading, create a folder named mods alongside your Sentinels executable app/executable, I guess. Inside that folder, each mod must be in its own folder. Example, my mod. Sample mod. Each mod must have a manifest file named, what did I name it? Manifest.json. File named manifest.json. This file specifies all of the information the game needs to load the mod. Example. We'll put our example. I guess we can attach the example. But we can manifest.json is a JSON hash file with the required, required attributes or properties. And then we can do like a below list. All right, let's open. I might have this visible at the same time. Title. User visible title of your mod. Author. I guess we can give the data type string. User visible author name. Description. Then namespace. I guess we'll do DLL first. DLL file with your mods engine code. Case sensitive. Because some computers have case sensitive file systems, so make sure you have the right case in there. Namespace is going to be the namespace used by the mod's engine code, also case sensitive. I guess I'm going to separate these into required, sort of user visible information properties. Like this. And we don't need to say this every time. Then required technical properties. Case sensitive unless otherwise noted. Dex is a hash. Specifies the dex provided by the mod. I guess they're not required because your mod might not have dex. I'll just leave them in required for now. Then and we have the variance here, but I'm just going to delete it because we're not using it yet, and we'll add it in later. The dex hash contains 4 properties. Heroes, array of string, identifiers of the hero dex. And this is going to be boop, boop, boop. Villains. Team villains. Environments. Cool. TBD. Variants. Resources. Maybe I'll say versioning, variants, resources, and maybe not anymore. That's mostly what we need. Okay, save that. Okay, let's like highlight some things that need to be highlighted. I think that makes bold in Trello. Yeah. And I mean, the mod folder must also include the DLL files specified by the manifest. Probably don't need to say that, but someone's going to be like, why is it loading? It's like, is your file there? It'll happen. I guarantee it. Okay. So this is coming up. So I'm not going to move that over to the reference section yet, but I'm going to put this example on it. Yeah. FPO, whatever. This is an example. It can be in there. You can just take it and change it. Cool. Okay. So that is how you will package your mod for now. And basically the goal is that like you'll be able to set this up like alongside your Sentinels and then like be able to upload it to Steam and then Steam will download it or whatever. Like we, the Steam Workshop integration itself is like a whole thing that we'll be getting to, but this will let you at least work on developing mods and sharing them in an ad hoc way with obviously no artwork or anything like that at this point. Pre-alpha. So there was one thing I just wanted to check in the... Just wanted to make sure that we're a little more maybe relaxed about the JSON file there. Okay, so yeah, it actually is okay with these not existing. Like if you don't have any environments, you don't have to put the environments in the list. That's okay. You don't have to have an empty list, I guess, basically. But these are required, all of these things, or it will crash. It won't like it. And that's fine for right now. Maybe we'll improve the error handling there at some point, but for now, that's okay. Cool. So that's where we are there. I guess let's move this one up. And let's just see what happens when we... I might not get to the end of this, but I'm curious, like, if I make a variant for my migrant coder, what's going to happen? So let's see. Bonus round. Yeah, so let's go to migrant coder. Let's add... Do you still have Bunker's deck list open? Let's grab the promo cards section. Promo cards. It's just like another thing. And the identifier here has to match your main character identifier. But then the promo identifier is anything really. So we could call it like, I don't know, what's a variant for me? Migrant coder, agent of stream, work from home migrant coder. I like that. Working, I mean, I always work from home, but like something about being trapped by the pandemic, right? Lockdown migrant coder. How about that? Maybe we'll. You can name your identifier whatever you want, but it's kind of nice to make it sort of be similar to the title. The title's going to be Migrant Coder Lockdown. And the title should be just the same as normal. Locker? Lockdown. And sure, we'll make the body to be social distance. And I'm not worrying about the icons and stuff right now. What does the power do? I mean, it's social distance, right? So it's like reduce damage dealt to by 1 until start of your next turn. He can have a different nemesis identifier. Sure, why not? And then ink have abilities. Wear a mask. Honestly. Cool. So that's our variant. Everything should still work. Just having maybe if I didn't screw up the JSON file. Let's see. Cool. But we need to have a class for that. So let's make a new class. Character, card, controller. Do any variants currently have different nemesis identifiers? Not that I'm aware of, but there's nothing stopping it. And it's a hero character card controller. And we need some more of that good old boilerplate. I guess you could probably make a template for your new... I think we did have a template file that we used to use for new classes, but it stopped working and we never restored it. Just something happened in Visual Studio that they changed how it worked or whatever. And yeah, let's implement their power, which is this. which is like add reduce damage trigger to damage target is this dot character card -1. I think we can deal damage action. What? Target card? Oh, I see. That's just like card. Okay. But we need to trigger dot expiry, right? There's like a... Oh, it's actually... I'm making a status effect, right? It's not a reduce damage trigger. I'm making a status effect. Reduce... Is there like helpers for status effects? Add make damage a reducible status effect. Reduce damage status effect. I don't know. Let's just see if we can make it do something. Get it to load. Mainstay in Southwest Sentinels. That's true. Mainstay character card controller. We'll borrow it. Good idea. It's Jake. Right, and since it's a power, so it could be guised. So if you have a numeral, you got to do it this way. You don't have to, but like if you want it to work properly with Guise and Harpy, it can happen. Because completionist guys, basically. Actually, this still works because it works on all character cards. But we can say specific card is this dot character card, I think. And then, yeah, reduce damage effect by 1, but maybe 2 because of applied numerology. It's this character card specifically. It is until the start of your next turn, and we add the status effect. I don't know why that needs to be a coroutine. I guess because it could show a message. That's why. Oh, and I'm editing the wrong file, so that's cool. That's why we use source control. It's like, oh no, I edited the wrong file. Whatever will I do? Well, I'll just revert those changes because, oh well. Use source control. It makes your life easier. All right, so everything should compile, and we should be able to test this variant. It should be. I have no expectations of a problem with the engine side. Migrant coder lockdown. You can actually, there's like this setup game controller lets you put in a slash to get the promo. It's like a little trick, which looks like slash migrant Coder lockdown. I don't know if it works. It'll work here, but and let's use power to reduce damage by 1. And punching bag should do no damage because of the reduction. Hey, look. Microencoder used the power. Yeah, so it brought the variant in, applied ongoing effect, reduced damage dealt to microencoder by 1. Punching bag, 1 melee damage. Social distance, reduce the damage by 1. So 0. Look at that. It's like we know how to do it. Jake helped. So let's see. If I take that and put that update to the mod into my mod folder, I don't know what's going to happen. It doesn't have a variance thing. Variants are not something, well, there is like a list of available variants and everything, right? So where do we decide to show that variance thing? That is a good question. So like new game, it's under like the setup game setup card view. Variant button. Can change variant. I mean, it's yes. But how do we say if we show the variant? Like this is saying just like yes, unless you're in multiplayer and you're not allowed or whatever. You can't change you can't change other people's variants and stuff like that. Is there, what's like, that can't be the only place. Right, there's this variants list, which is populated by the thing that set us up, I think. Yeah. This is finding the variants. And hello, Hibaki Seo. I don't know what music is playing right now. I probably can find out. Maybe not. It's like just playing like a bunch of music from the game. I don't know that I can actually have it show anywhere what it's playing. I guess I could turn on the monitor. I don't hear it though. I don't know if the monitor thing is working. Very chill. Yeah, I'm just curious because I don't have it playing like in my ears. It's only on the stream. Cool. So right, it's only showing the variants banner if the deck is playable. So we also want to check to see, ask the mod helper, right? Mod manager, is deck playable? Well, no, that's returning true if it has a dot. So actually, I wonder if we get rid of that. We might want to get rid of that in here. I guess we can do return mod. Do this here. Let's just do that. And then we don't need this. Right, so there's promo helper, which is a whole other thing. Hey, Seamus got the ban. Nice. We're not becoming famous and buying followers. Not this day. Right, so promo helper, we're asking, what are the variants available for the deck? And we're saying is all the promo card definitions where it's, you know, allowed. And then excluded variants are things that you haven't. Actually, excluded variants is things that we, you know, if we've got something programmed in but it's not ready yet, we can keep that from showing up. So that's not really used anymore now that everything is out, but it's a thing that lets us control that. So we need to allow that variant to be shown as available. Right. So basically we just need to be able to tell this that, like, it's a mod, so let it. So we could, like, just have a parameter here that's like allow all. And if it's a mod, we allow it all. That's one way to do it. Because this is actually, well, it's passing the definition, but we could instead pass like the turn taker. It's all working on a definition right now, but it doesn't have to necessarily work on a definition. This thing is like, what's this used for? Beta options. Like if I can make a version of this, which takes a turn taker, and we can say if turn taker dot r why sometimes Visual Studio, if the namespace is set, then it's just like all of it, right? We can just like call this method. Right, if the opposite of this. Otherwise, return turn taker dot deck definition dot promo card definitions. Just like don't filter them at all. So we made this version of the method that we can use in this place instead. Where we pass, instead of passing the parent deck, we pass the owner, which is the turn taker. And we should get a variant button now. There's going to be something about, is it playable unlocked promos for deck, which we're going to also need. But this should at least have the button show up. It's going to be like, you can't play it. It hasn't been unlocked. Variants. Yeah, so we got the variant. So that's cool. This is what's... I wonder if we have an actual card here or just a definition. This is deck browser. Randomizer. Randomizer. What's actually deciding that we can... I guess it was when we clicked the button, there was like a thing, right? Show next variant. Show if it's locked. Right, is promo unlocked? Allow cheat code. Remember there are cheat codes? I'm just gonna go take a quick break again. Need to go to the bathroom. We'll BRB again. And then we should be able to finish this variant stuff. Enclave music. The Enclave of the Endlings. Be right back. All right, staying hydrated. So I think for mod cards, mod promos are just always unlocked, right? So, so what calls this version of it? Only itself. Okay. So mod promos are always unlocked. If card.owner. Yeah, actually, I like checking this namespace is not null if we have the namespace versus the checking for a dot in the qualified identifier. We can return true. This should let us play it. Let's see. Heroes. Migrant coder. Variant changed. Didn't update the thing, but it did. Variant changed. Variant is listed there. It didn't change the display, but it is there. That's there. Let's just see if we can use it. Might be a few quirks. Are there cheat codes in Sentinels? There used to be cheat codes to unlock variants, but it was... Yeah, I don't think the variant actually made it into the game. No. So something was lost, or like something... I think it probably has to do with the namespace stuff or whatever. So... there's a disconnect there. Variant changed. Yeah, so before there's a button, there was like a code, and we would like publish the codes on our website. But and you type in the code, and you would unlock it. As if you didn't want to do the actual thing, to do the achievement. And we thought, it was fun, like old school cheat code thing. But Apple was like, you can't unlock content if you buy a code. It's like, all right, then we'll just make it a button, I guess. So it's a button. But I think the stuff for the code is still in there, maybe. This. The guy stuff, maybe it's gone. Cheat label. Yeah, there used to be a button. There used to be a text field in here, but that's gone, I guess. Yeah, we don't want to save any changes to this in here. Just make sure we don't do that. So, what happened with that variant? It's interesting. It was like working a little more before. Well, it worked, but didn't quite work. So we take this and we change the variant. This variant changed is called is promo unlocked, should be returning true. Set promo card. Right. So here's this to do and the mod support. This is like, oh, hey, this is a thing that needs to happen. So instead of set promo card on the definition, is that something that really needs to be that way? The randomizer is doing it based off of the definition. But that isn't, I don't think that's super necessary. Because yeah, we have the hero turn taker, so we're just dropping that information. So we can include the turn taker identifier here, I guess. String turn taker identifier. And this can just do that, and then whatever needs to call the other thing. And again, here we need to do this. Nope. Set qualified identifiers. Oh yeah, this is the wrong spot. So here, instead of looking that up that way, we're doing this. Okay. Don't use the parent deck identifier. Use the proper identifier. So there's special handling for Sentinels because they have multiple character cards. Special handling for Skyscraper because Skyscraper is weird. So these are things that we'll have to deal with and probably handle more support. There's like literally a check here to see if it's the Sentinels. So we might need to update that for more mods that have multiple character cards, but for today, that's okay. So, right, we're going to have some errors because there's another place that's calling these without that parameter. But we know that this is going to be the hero.qualified identifier. I guess we already got that. And is that it? Zero. Oh, I see. Game's running. Doesn't like that. Let's just make sure we save the files. I can do that by just compiling this, and automatically will save everything. We got errors there, but it's probably fine. Sometimes the errors, that doesn't compile right. All right, let's check our hero. We collect variants. We have the variant listed there, but it didn't change the title here. I don't know if it's supposed to, though. Let's try getting a game in. Oh yeah, that's the variant hit points 27, right? And there's our thing. So hey, that worked. I just also want to test changing the variant and then dragging the hero down, because that's technically a different thing that's happening sometimes. So you don't see anything here, but it is that when you pull it up. So it's, you know, maybe not ideal, but it's functional. And normally you would see the new graphic. Yeah, there's the variant. And we can like make sure the power works, I guess, in the UI too. Haha, Bear Blade regains HP. He doesn't. Reduce damage dealt to migrant coder by 1, and then it like pops up in here, just like that. Magical. And I wish I got my best card ever. Alright, so we've got, there you go, Jake. Support for your own variants in the UI. We did it. So let's add a sample hero variant. into here. Push that up from the samples. And go into the UI. See our changes here, right? So handling mod variants there. These as well. Cool. Handle mods having their own variants always unlocked. Cool, so that's going to be available in the next update. Of course, even right now you can program your variants and test them with the unit tests and everything. But that's going to be supported in the next update for Sentinels with that ad hoc loading. So there you go. Cool. So one thing actually I got a request from people was for a list of icons. And that is a good question. And since you're going to be able to go put things into the UI, we have actually, I remembered we have a unit test that lists all the icons. So I'm just going to grab the list out of there. Where are we going? Sentinels engine. So they are listed in the like user interface, like in the help, but that doesn't obviously tell you like what's the secret code for what each icon file is. And so they tell you like what they do or what they mean, I guess. So I think there's a like called icon test. No. Might be under deck list test. It might be easier to search or look in this. Unit test. Okay, run it. Sure. Don't. It's not going to work. Unity build. I think it's under deck list test. Test card icons. Yeah, stop running. I guess it's running tests. Just stop. Please stop. Right, so these are the list of card icons. And actually this test will fail if a card has an icon that's not there. Or like basically this is a test that like makes sure that we don't, if we need a new icon and a card's trying to use it, it exists and stuff like that. So these are the list of icons that are currently in the game. So I'm going to copy and paste this. And then we have a list of these are cards that don't have icons and it's okay. But normally we want there to be icons on a card. Small card icon list. Right now we're not looking to be able to add new icons, but that's something that could potentially be a thing. The following is a list of small card icons currently supported in the UI. What they mean is explained in the How to Play section under Reference. Boop. We plan to, I think we will add versions of all the, like, basically, some of the icons have damage type versions. Deal damage fire, deal damage cold, and only the icons used by Sentinels decks are in the game. We plan to add versions of these for all damage types, since mods may want to use them. That makes sense? Like, there's no, like, reduced damage psychic or whatever, right? Because nothing ever needed that. So it just might not be in the game. Deal damage is, yeah. There's ones for deal damage for everything, but like there's damage specific ones that aren't necessarily there. Trident, this is not about Nemesis icons or Night Mist magic icons. This is the icons at the bottom of the small cards. This is a different thing. Nemesis icons are different, and Night Mist magic numbers are completely different. There is not a mechanism right now for adding your own Nemesis icons. That is something you can functionally do it. Like you can functionally add your Nemesis identifiers, and like they will work. They will. It just matches strings, right? So like, if that other card has the same string as your card in its Nemesis, then you'll get the +1 damage effect. Or if there's something that cares about whether they're Nemesis, like Bugbear, it'll do that text string matching basically. But there's no functionality right now to support that icon. I can probably add something into here, which is like custom Nemesis icons, unless we want to put that in like, is there like a card for like, images and stuff? I guess not. Custom Nemesis icons. Hibiki Sayo says, my custom hero can be Nemesis to Baron. I guess you mean Legacy's Nemesis icon. The custom setups, we can do villains and environments as well. I'm not sure what you mean. You can make hero decks, you can make villain decks, environment decks, villain team decks. So that's currently supported. I'm going to add in the future section is custom small card icons. That's not something we're planning necessarily to do, and that's not something necessary in the MVP, but like the small card icons are basically like hints for what the card does. It's like, oh, this card is related to fire damage or whatever. They're never meant, they have never ever have been meant to be complete. They cannot describe everything about the card, and they are not meant to be. So like there's a generic icon for like this card manipulates cards, or you know, search for a card. Like it's not trying to exactly say what the card does. So the set of icons covers pretty well what cards might do in a very, very rough way. So it's not something that we have very many like deck specific icons for. Most of them are very generic to be used by anything. There are a very small number of deck specific ones, like Argent Adept has some. The Naturalist has some. There's a filter icon for Sergeant Steel. The Harpy. But like, yeah, very few. I think it's Argent Adept, Naturalist, the Harpy, like, and Sergeant Steel. Is that like it? Out of all of these that are, and I guess Oblivion, if you want to say Oblivion, is like 5 decks that have specific icons out of all of the decks in Sentinels. So don't expect support for custom small card icons to be something we prioritize, but it is on the list now, so something that could potentially be a thing, but don't plan to require that, because they're not like something that you need for the game. They're like a nice thing. So Nemesis icons I think are more important because they're like part of the like content. They have a gameplay effect, so that's something we want to be able to show. Okay, so that's probably gonna do it for today. What did we do? We got the ad hoc mod loading finished up and working, so you'll be able to put a mods folder into your or next to your Sentinels exe and put your mod in there with the manifest that you make and your DLL, and load up and play your mod in the game. So that's going to be as of the next update to Sentinels, which will have some bug fixes and stuff as well. Hopefully next week. Can't promise that, but that is the goal. Anything with Sentinels that we do needs to like go out to Apple and Android as well. So there's some review times and, you know, testing and things we need to do. So, I mean, we could put this out on a like private branch or something, but I don't think we're ready for that point just yet. So it's still like, this is still like a side thing happening in terms of the main Sentinels game. So I don't want to like have to have people switch branches and stuff like that right now. So we'll unless it like really becomes an issue, but I think that's probably okay. So we got support for variants within the mod decks, which is great. And yeah, all this stuff is going to get shipped out, hopefully, very soon. And yeah, so next up we're continuing on the documentation side of things. We are continuing to be looking at graphics and stuff. Jennifer's actually been working on some more of those placeholder graphics we showed last time. Put it in the beta settings. Yeah, well, it's just going to be like in the public build, but depending on where things go, we might like have a separate branch for like private access, but right now we're okay to have it in the public, I think, at this point. Well, not private, but like have to switch over to it. I think at this point it's okay to continue, because we have bug fixes we want to release anyways. So if we were just doing an update that was only mod stuff, then we would probably do something like that. So that still might happen as things move along. Yeah, so the next sort of big visual thing, of course, is like, let me load my graphics, get those card images, character images, and environment images, music and stuff. Those are all things that we want to do. And so that, along with potentially variants for existing characters, are sort of the next two big things we want to do. And once we, get all these things in this sort of section done, I think we'll be at the point where we can be like, we're ready for like, people can like actually be sharing their mods sort of on an ad hoc basis, and we can be continuing to iterate on that support as we move towards actually getting Steam Workshop integration in. So very cool stuff. So that's going to be it for today. I've published up a few things onto the GitHub of the sample, if anyone wants to check that out. Basically, what I added was... actually, I'm going to change this thing because the references aren't actually needed anymore to change, because I'll just put if necessary. So some people are like, how do I update the references? You can double click on blah, blah, blah. My mod references, right? Yeah. Double click on my mod references. Then choose the .NET Assembly tab. And this right now is like, it's set up by default to work on Windows, so I don't think anyone on Windows doesn't need to do anything. So yeah. And it's still very rough, but yeah, it's still currently only single string with no dots is supported, but in the next version it will support like you can have like multiple, you can have extra dots, more dots. All right, so just update the README there with that. So that's cool. Yeah, we added the, what did we do? We added some more decks, like some more samples into there basically today, because we wanted to make sure that worked when we loaded them in, and got that working in the UI. So, oh yeah, and the JSON schema stuff is interesting to as a thing to potentially add in there and make it easier to make deck lists and stuff with like autocomplete for enums and type checking and stuff like that. Cool. So that is it for today, I think. Thanks for tuning in to the dev stream. It's always a lot of fun to interact with y'all and show you what we're working on. So we will talk to you next time, and hopefully we'll have an update out for Sentinels by then, or nearly ready to go by that time. We'll see. Hopefully we can get that moving today into beta testing and stuff. So that is all from me today. So have a good weekend, stay safe, and see you next time.